Hi, welcome to chapter 1 for the medical terminology class. Presumably you've been on Moodle because that's where this is posted, and you will see that you're only going to see week 1, but trust me when I say each week there's a folder that says book PowerPoints. I have all of these PowerPoints loaded up, and I highly recommend you go through them on your own a lot. I'm going to do a little bit of facilitating, but medical terminology is a short class. Like, we only meet 1 day a week. Most of this course is going to be based on you. And it's not possible for me to cover absolutely everything. And I apologize ahead of time for how I have the whole thing set up, but it was the best way I could think of to help you really get to understand the material. So while this is chapter 1, this is also a warning about how the term is going to go. You will have a weekly quiz, and it's a lot of questions. And I mean a lot. You don't want to put off starting it. I'm going to have a lot of questions, like a lot of questions. And you are expected to go through it. You will have unlimited tries to do these tests, unlimited, and it will be your highest score. So the more often you go for it, the better. The copious amount of notes you make while going through it, the better. There will be 0 time limit on the quiz, unlimited tries, and the highest score you get is what counts. It is, let's see, I believe I set that your weekly quizzes are 25% of your grade, because this is terminology and I can't just do basic concepts. For terminology, it's literally vocabulary, and the best way is repetition. So I do apologize ahead of time when you end up with quizzes that have like 200 questions. Those are the breaks. So be ready. Do not put off starting these quizzes. Do it like immediately and do it often. So that being said, let's take a look at our very first PowerPoint. I am going to kind of skim. We are not doing every single detail because, again, I can only facilitate so much. When we only meet this much each week, I'm doing my best. You have to carry the biggest burden here. So learning outcomes. I may or may not add this into the weekly details, but I am leaving it here so you know what you're supposed to be learning. So the basic thing about medical language is it has to be clear, concise. You have to be able to understand it. The whole thing about learning medical terminology is so when you're working with a patient, you can come across sounding knowledgeable, even about things you don't actually understand. You need to be able to look at the word, break it up, know how to pronounce it, exude confidence in order to comfort the patient, because patients are going to be scared. They don't know what to expect. They don't know any of these words. You knowing it and being able to convey it is key. So mostly comes from Greek and Latin. And then we have other words where the irony of me teaching this is you're supposed to know how to pronounce things, and I so suck at that. But anyway, you've got this one, eponyms, but basically that is where they take the name of who discovered it and lump it in there. And then we have acronyms. There's a lot of acronyms like MRIs. We have modern languages, German, French, English. And so sometimes you're going to have different modern languages in the medical field. This is more than just memorization. A lot of people are great at memorization. I refer to it as regurgitation education. That's part, but not entirely, because you can't physically memorize every single word. You need to memorize, incorporate, and make it part of your soul, the various root words. That's how you will be able to do this. You also need to be able to understand the emphasis, because where you put the emphasis on the word actually makes a lot of difference. Why did I blank on the word difference? But there you go. So if it is in all caps, that's where the emphasis is. So like cut. It's one syllable. You can only put emphasis in that one spot. Cut. Then genetic. We've heard genetic. You say genetic. You never thought about it before, but did you realize you say genetic? So the emphasis is on the second syllable in genetic. And then it says, what word is pronounced as? Any idea? I so wish I was in there because I would make everybody say it. Pneumonia. Which, by the way, not spelled like that at all. But if you see it and you know it's pneumonia, again, second syllable. So names for the various syllables in a word, you have to take a good look. Usually focus is on the last three syllables. So we just have some examples here, and this is what we're going to do a whole lot of. You need to divide things into the different syllables and then learn how to pronounce it. Sometimes you are going to put emphasis on the first part, like cardiac, car, that's the emphasis, or cardiology. If you've ever paid attention, you don't say cardiology, you say cardiology. I don't know why, but that's the proper way to do it. These are the things you will be paying attention to. Now, if you notice here, it says emphasis usually falls on the third to last syllable. Look at that last one. There you go. Medical terms are constructed by a combination of a root, suffix, and often a prefix. So this is where your English classes come into play. You've learned about a suffix and a prefix and root words. This is the bulk of medical terminology, is identifying which is which and learning what different things mean. Pretty sure everybody in this class I had in bio 1, 2, 3 and 1, 2, 4. So you've already gotten a root for this. We've already started this with some stuff. So here we go. Like arthro, cardio, entero. These all have very specific meanings. If you see cardi, we already know that's going to have to do with the heart. If it has HEM, blood, that kind of thing. So these are all things you're going to be learning. You're going to go over tables like this to look at the root word, the definition, and example. This is going to help put it in your brain the most. What's really fun is if you look at this, think of the organ attack game. Remember necrosis? And it was the cell death. So there you go. Or actually, it was just death. But anyway, you're going to want to go through this. This is why I keep stressing the textbook is key. I literally can't teach this to you because it would just be me literally reading words over and over and over again. So I'm just trying to show you the stuff we're going to be concentrating on. Common suffixes, simple ones. Adjective, noun, diminutive. Adjective means it's pertaining to. So if you remember in English class, adjective is like a description. Noun, that's what it is, man. And diminutive, gosh, I'm tripping over that word. This is just, it's to a smaller version. Here we go. When you see the dash, that means it's at the end of the word, the suffix. So pertaining to, we already know cardi is heart, putting ac pertaining. So cardiac means it is pertaining to the heart. Yeah, that's all I'm going to worry about for here. Noun, condition. Pneumonia, we talked about that. Autism, we talked about that. It is ending of an ISM, IUM, Y. These all mean actual nouns. Making it smaller. I don't need to really read all these. So there you go. Then we have complex suffixes. This is where they're putting multiple things together. So here we go. We have the specialist, we have the study of. So if you have ist, like cardiologist, that means someone who studies the heart. Oncologist, that is the cancer specialist. Cardiology is the study of the heart, not the specialist, that kind of thing. So here we go. Yet more examples of how it goes together, and an example of how just by learning what that ending means, it will help you be able to define it. Yes, I am just clicking through here, but this is what I'm talking about. It's mostly on you. When we do the in-person, it's going to be quick little things, but it will be more discussion based than anything else because you literally have to do this part on your own. All right. Prefix, this is the stuff at the beginning of the word. So pre as in before. So these are going to be the things at the first part of the word. So it will be indicated by something and then a dash. So hopefully you already learned that putting the A at the beginning or the AN at the beginning negates it. So example, when we talked respiration, we talked about aerobic and anaerobic. Anaerobic meant without oxygen. Aerobic meant with oxygen. When we talked, I just totally blanked. I've got it in my head and I'm trying to remember the phrasing for it. When we were talking the ecology stuff and we were talking about the factors for your habitat and everything, we talked about biotic factors, which were living, and we talked about abiotic factors, and that A meant non-living. So you should already know some of these, but here are some more. So knowing that these first few words or these first few letters mean something specific, this is what will help you better be able to break down words when you see it. So yes, a glorified vocabulary lesson. Oh gosh, knows. We know I drilled into your head mono and homo and hetero, so you're used to those prefixes. So, and then how to put them all together. The letter O is the most common combining vowel. It's not the only one, but it's the most common. And so you will probably see it a lot. So like cardi is heart, L-O-G-Y, logy is study. So we just stick the O in the middle. So cardiology is the study of the heart. There you go. Just more examples. Quite frankly, I never thought about what it was called to have the study of the spleen because it just seems so random, but I guess it's not. So what happens here is when you're looking at it, you read the word, say the word out loud. This is when you're studying. Break the word into parts to the suffix, the root, and the prefix. Translate the parts and then reassemble them into a statement. This way you can figure out what each word actually means. So, example, translating this word. Read the word. Say the word. Pericardium. Break the word into parts. Peri, card, eum. Translate the parts in order. Suffix, eum, means tissue. Prefix, peri, means around. Root, card, means heart. So this literally means the tissue around the heart. So by just knowing these particular parts, even if you've never seen this word before, you now know what it means. That's pretty much it for chapter 1. So that's what you should have learned. And now we will cover what your in-class assignment is going to be. Your first in-class assignment is to look at your textbook and write up how you plan to prepare for this week. Like, what are you going to do? What is your timeline? I want to see your time management skills. That's what I want to see. I want to know, how are you going to prepare for this quiz? That's going to be probably close to 200 questions. I haven't finished putting it together yet because I'm having to manually input every single question into the test bank, and it's taken me a while. I want to know, how are you going to go about this course and this week specifically? What day do you plan to start reading? How much are you planning on reading each day? How much time are you dedicating to this? And when are you going to start doing the quiz? And how are you planning to cover the quiz? Are you planning to read through all the material and practice before you do the quiz? Or are you going to have the quiz open and your textbook open at the same time and go back and forth trying to master it? I want to know, I want to know your path of action, because how you, if you plan it now and write up and think about it and say, this is how I'm going to tackle it, and you turn it in next week, when we see how well you did, we'll see whether or not your plan worked. That makes sense, right? So that is your in-class assignment. And I guess that is it for chapter 1. Peace.